The number one question I get from buyers is, what is a good price? What is the upside? What is the potential for this property? This product can succinctly answer that by giving you the wells, the value, and what reservoirs are available. So here's the workflow that I would recommend if you're a buyer looking to value a property on this website. Obviously, first start with creating a free account. You can store as many properties as you'd like. If you're a buyer, I assume that you are relatively familiar with how to find property. And so these search on the left should be really helpful for you to jump to things quickly. So first start with the county of interest that you're looking to value the property in. It'll zoom in on that county and give a list of the major land parcels. Then you can filter down to that parcel. So this is a meets and bounds area. So the easiest thing to search for is the survey. Say that you know it's the heirs, you can search there and it will take you to that area there. If you don't know exactly where it is in that meets and bounds description, you don't have to narrow it down exactly. You could just select the entire survey and say that this person owns maybe 30 net acres in this, or 30 net royalty acres in this, because they have some interest in some well. If this background is getting in the way, you can toggle the layer off and you can double click. Once you double click, you add it to your properties. You can fine tune it. You can say, here's the seller's name. If it's leased, what lease royalty rate is it leased at? So you can change this to whatever it's actually leased at. Or if you want to do a net royalty acre, you would just keep this at 12.5%. And if you want to keep it at $1 per net royalty acre, you can keep this at 1 net acre leased at 12.5%. Or you can change this to the amount that the person actually has. If you already know this, say they have 30 acres within this survey, and you can put any notes in there. Hit save, and that will add it to your properties. And once it's added to your properties, then you have the ability to unlock the Pecan estimate for that property by subscribing to it. A subscription gets you 1 month of data on that property, and that's $39.99. You can get an overview of the property before paying for it by clicking on here. You won't get the value estimate or the activity indicators, but you can edit the property details and you can see the wells around it and edit this polygon if you need to. So to subscribe, click this, and the Pecan Estimate monthly will get you like a Zillow Zestimate level estimate, a really rough answer. If you want to go further into it, that is the full analysis, and that will list out the reservoirs and how much PUD, prob, and POS is assigned to each reservoir. It'll also give a range, a little more detail about the wells, how much value we're assigning to each well, and how much monthly revenue should be coming from each well based on having 30 net acres in that section. I'll go ahead and show you what that looks like. If you click subscribe, it'll pop up the stripe window, and then just wait about 2 minutes for it to calculate. There's a lot of calculations going on in the background that is unique to your particular property that you drew in congruence with our underlying model. So just give it a minute to calculate. Under the property subscription, it will tell you if this is going to renew and how long you have access to the data for. If you don't want it to renew, just hit cancel. That will make it expire at a certain date, 30 days from whichever day you subscribed. So the Pecan estimate will automatically try to figure out which wells you should have interest in based on the outlined acreage. So you want to outline the acreage that you would actually be purchasing, not the units themselves. For example, in this particular outline here, you're crossing over multiple units, the Zgabe. Wow, I chose an example that's hard to pronounce. So you'll be crossing over multiple units here. It will know that you're in this unit here, and it will know that you're in the Carson unit. And then there might be some other vertical units, there might be some other things, but it will take the fact that you're in this unit here and extrapolate that to the other wells in the unit also. It's not just the wells that it's overlapping on. It takes into account what type of unit is and the general assumptions that go with units. There's base assumptions on how big and the extent of each unit. Once we eventually get the exact units built in, this will be more precise, and we can go in and build those precise units in for any property also. Okay, it's now calculated and it's been about 2 minutes, so I hit refresh, and now we have the Pecan estimate. It'll tell you the dollar per acre based on the lease royalty rate that you chose. It will also give a sales range, a monthly revenue range, and a lease bonus range. Say if it wasn't leased, our assumption is that you'd want to lease at 25%, and so this is based on a 25% lease, but the full analysis has ways to get that into other percentages if you want a different percentage lease potential. It'll tell you if there's any wells permitted, drilled, or completed on that acreage in the last 2 years. You can hover over these little eyes to figure out more about it. And then it will also, as you scroll down, it will tell you which wells you should have interest in based on the overlap of that parcel with the units. We give a little insight as to how much the unit factor for that is, which is the property outline overlap with the unit, how much that property overlaps with the unit, and it will give you the estimated revenue decimal for this particular interest in this particular well based on those assumptions. This by default shows the active wells. You can show all of them by clicking display all. There's a couple drilled and shut-in wells in this particular example. Again, if you want to know a little more as to what's going into this Pecan estimate and what's going into the sales range, it's unique to each property and it's based on the reservoirs that are both drilled and undrilled and on the risks surrounding those reservoirs. If you want to know more about the discount rates and the risk profiles, if you go up to the user menu, there is our engineering model link here that has all the information on commodity prices and estimates. In general, we're using a NYMEX strip forward pricing and then SBEE recommended risk profiles and discount rates for PUD, PROB, POS, PDP, etc. If that doesn't make any sense to you, just say it's industry standard for how fair market value is defined for most buyers and sellers. Okay, that's the brief overview. Let me know if you have any questions on this. There's some other videos that we have floating around. Good luck. Happy hunting.